Let's do this. This is what episode, I don't know, 17? Sounds good.
That sounds good.
We're talking about maintenance today. A lot of people, we geared a lot of our conversations. I'm not stepping on your clapper. Well, if you bought some decent chairs, it would have been all right. All right. Well, back to maintenance. Now he threw me all off. You bastard.
That's right. You got it.
All right. I'll bring it back. All right. Yeah, we've talked about summer maintenance, winter maintenance, but we never really touched on general maintenance. And that's something you need to keep an eye out, all year long. Granted, I mean, you need to do a little extra for the inclement weather, whether it's hot or whether it's winter. But this episode, we're going to talk strictly about just what needs to be done, like your oil changes, your filters, your tune-ups, your cleanings and fluid flushes and stuff like that. So we'll start with like the easy ones here. Now we'll start with an air filter. A lot of people ignore air filters, even when you go to a shop that's not mine. A lot of places will overlook the air filter. They'll concentrate on doing the oil change, maybe check the fluids, check the tire pressures. Some of them don't even do that either. But a lot of places ignore the air filter. And that's probably one of the biggest things that you can overlook that can cause you a problem. As simple as it sounds, because air filters aren't the way that they used to be. Used to be just a put in there, it filtered the air, hence the name air filter, kept the stuff out of it, stuff that got sucked up in there out of it, and it still basically does. But what you'll see, what I'll explain to you now is the airflow that comes through an air filter. Everything is so engineered now. The airflow that comes through the air filter into your intake manifold is actually metered. So any deviation from that can cause you like loss of miles per gallon, loss of performance, just a number of issues. So case in point, I got one today. This guy's air filter. It's his first time in to my shop. He's got 62,000 miles on it. This air filter is completely clogged, dirty. I mean, you can go through there and you don't see anything at all. So what happens is it like acts like a choke and it smothers the airflow going in there into the intake manifold. So now your engine's working harder to come up with that air filter, that air metered to get the perfect air ratio to have the engine work as optimum as it could. So what happens there is that gets clogged. I know I've done this routine before, but I'll do it again. That air filter gets clogged. No air is getting in. It's trying to breathe with a wet COVID mask. So you're going to be like this. So it's kind of like that. So you think of your engine trying to work that way, or you trying to breathe that way. It's almost like your car has COPD. So, but this isn't the same exact filter, but this will give you an idea of what they should look like when they're new. So, or even when they're when they're clean, they might not have to necessarily be new. So, I mean, the air flows through here. It's metered correctly, and it goes into the intake. The engine's working great. The engine's breathing great. It doesn't require that much more fuel to try to compensate for the loss of performance. Your engine is happy. It's breathing well. So, that's number one. Oil changes. A lot of people, forget about oil changes. Nowadays, it's that is probably the most critical thing. They're trying to save money because money's getting tight. Maintenance is the first thing that everybody cuts back on. Well, I can't get that oil change this week, or I can't do that this week. But the biggest problem is if you ignore your maintenance, the maintenance stuff can lead to major problems. I don't like giving people big bills. I see that say that all the time. I would rather do a whole lot of maintenance instead of giving you a big $1,500 bill, which could have been prevented maybe by doing an oil change. Again, oil filters. They don't just filter the oil. They're actually pressurized through there. This one is a 2-stage filter. That's why I use this brand. It filters it twice before it goes back into the engine. A lot of them, even the name brands, are a single pass oil filter. So they don't get all the particulars and the metal bits and stuff like that comes out of it. So we've done the research. We like this brand. It's inexpensive and high quality. So, but what happens is if you lose oil pressure for whatever reason, whether this filter gets extra clogged, say you still use a good oil filter like this, and you still don't get your oil changed, that's eventually going to clog up as well. It affects your timing on the engine because a lot of cars have timing chains. Everything is geared so precise nowadays that one little thing can cause a whole lot of issues. What we see a lot with General Motors vehicles, and we're seeing it now with the Ford vehicles. If you don't get your oil changed, the timing chains do not, and the tensioners do not get the proper pressure to it, and they advance or retard the timing accordingly on what the engine sees. So with that being said, it can either wear out your tensioners, it can mess up your actuators, it can clog some ports and passages. So you really have to make sure that your oil is changed and you keep up on it as well as you can. The $70 you might spend on a full synthetic oil change will save you a lot of money in the long run. I'm going to say I've done probably 10 or 12 timing chain and actuator gears jobs this year, and they're all averaging between $1,800 and $2,300. Some of it very well could have been prevented. So keep an eye out on it, or let me know what you think. But get your oil changes done. Now, here's another type of filter. This is, you'll see these on like mostly the European cars. I'm not going to take it out of the bag, but yeah, it's a paper. It's not a 2-stage, but it is treated. A lot of the other ones I've seen them where they're not treated. It'll soak the oil in and it won't actually filter it. It'll just soak it in and choke it like I showed you with the air filter. So you have to use a quality oil filter as well. Like this is, especially on your European cars. So this is a brand name that usually comes in the European cars. It's called Mon. So we carry Mon. We do the job right. Make sure you get the right viscosity. A lot of people think oil is oil. No. You'll see oil weights like 520, 530, 020. You want to make sure, because the 5 means when you first start it up that it's got that viscosity so it can actuate all the parts, run through all the parts, and then as you drive it, you get more and more protection with it as it builds up the viscosity up to 30 weight. So that's, and accordingly with all the other numbers, 020, 520, 1030, blah, blah. That's why they have multi-grade oils. You very rarely see single weight oils anymore, and that's usually for the older cars as well. So that's the same thing. Spark plugs. A lot of people have questions about tune-ups. When do I need a tune-up? Well, most cars probably since 2000, I'm going to throw out a round number, 2005, use double platinum spark plugs. These are the iridium plugs, rapid fire iridium plugs, which is even better. They get a hotter spark. They last longer. I've actually these will go 100,000 miles, without a problem. I've seen people get more out of them without a problem. But we do check them every now and then, so we make sure that you won't have a problem. And a lot of dealerships and stuff will also tell you to change these at 20 to 30,000. There is absolutely no need to change those at 20 to 30,000. Engines are running cleaner, and like I said, if you keep up with your maintenance, with your oil changes, your air filters, your engine running optimum all the time, or at least most of the time, you won't have to spend, because these are probably about $25 a piece. And if you have 6 or 8 of them in there, it can get up there in price. So don't fall for it. If you have any questions, you can always give me a call. I'll tell you. I don't know how many people I've talked to, and they'll be like, really? I don't need a spark plug for 100,000 miles? I'm like, yeah, really. And I'm telling you, it's my job to sell you these things, but I won't sell them to you if you don't need them. So a couple other things, fluid flushes. Transmissions, it really depends on the make and model and the usage. A lot of the transmissions nowadays are sealed and they don't have filters. The fluids are a whole lot better than they used to be. So I'm probably going to say 100 to 120,000 miles. I had somebody come in the other day that the dealership told them they needed it at 12. No, absolutely not. So we do a lot of that, correcting other things. You'll even see in the maintenance schedules that we print out, which come from the manufacturers, that they don't recommend these things till that certain mileage. So Always check with me. I have every single make, every single model, and their maintenance schedule on what is required, say at 30,000, 20,000, 110,000, 150,000. We have it all. So you just let us know, and we'll tell you exactly what you need, and save you a lot of money there. Those are just some of the maintenance items that there's a little bit more to it, but you don't have to really. We usually check everything during every oil change, or if somebody comes in, they want it checked out for a mileage interval. We'll check everything, tell you what you need, tell you what you don't need, and every oil change we check tire pressures, we check belts, check hoses, all the fluids, make sure that the coolant that's in there is good, at least minus 40. Check one of my past episodes, and I can tell you how got there. So, all the fluids, differentials, you should have them checked, or don't have to be checked as often, but we usually check every second or third oil change. And the biggest thing is just keep up on the maintenance all year long. It'll save you a lot of money in the long run. Again, I don't like giving people big bills. I like doing the maintenance. I like seeing people come in and out with a small bill and they're happy, they're appreciative. That's what I'm in business for, to make sure everybody's happy. And I appreciate the business as well. So everybody have a great day. Check in with our America's Mechanic YouTube channel, and you can see us on Facebook. And have a great day. And peace as always. Right on, Craig.